Recording is live.
All right.
Guys, welcome back to Word of Mouth. We're here live with my hermano, Samuel Wade Peacock.
It's great to be back, man.
Welcome back.
It's been a while. It's been right around a year since you've been on.
Yeah, this is, I think it was December of 2023.
Yeah.
A little over a year. That's
One of the
crazy. That
OGs.
doesn't feel like, that does not feel like 13 months ago.
He was the episode 2, I believe.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Dude,
so.
I literally did not know that. That's crazy, actually.
And now he has episode 44.
Wow. Episode 44. So you guys are averaging a couple of episodes a month. If my math is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Something like
You're the Barack Obama of this podcast.
I'm honored.
Wasn't he the 44th? Right? 44,
I think,
45.
because Trump was 45.
He's 47
and 47.
I thought
Yeah, he's
that was,
44.
Yeah.
So then, so he's 43, 44. You're like the Forrest Gump of this podcast. He was number 44.
I thought Jimmy Carter was the 44th.
No.
Oh,
Yeah. He might have been 44 when he was president.
okay.
So we've been hearing a lot about politics this week because, the inauguration.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody got any political takes you want to talk about before we jump in?
Myers, do you have any political takes?
I have a lot of political takes, but nothing's coming to mind just to stir the pot.
Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy. Because back in December, I randomly got in a little Twitter kick, which a lot of people are gonna probably think I'm some type of person because of that. I'm not an Elon
You're a
Musk
psychopath.
guy. I'm not like a huge Elon Musk dude.
So you hate
means.
Elon? You just don't like him?
I think he's fascinating.
Okay.
Me and Myers are kind of have this ongoing discussion where I kind of am grappling with my knee-jerk reaction is he's kind of evil.
Oh.
But I don't really know if I don't think that I'm that's a flawless take that everyone should agree with me. I'm just saying that's kind of my knee-jerk reaction because of how horrible the things his children have to say about him are and how terribly he treats his children and his family from what I've read, which granted, literally you could say anything anywhere and it wouldn't matter. Anyways, this week, so I got on Twitter originally because I wanted to follow transfers for soccer and for transfer portal stuff for the NCAA football, and that's where everybody posts their stuff, and high school basketball recruiting because Alabama almost got the #1 basketball recruit. So anyways, that's kind of how I got into it because I'm a freaking nerd and like sports, and now I just kind of enjoy it because it's just freaking crazy on there. It's the most. I love Reddit, and it's the most like Reddit out of any of the other social medias, and. Anyways, I think it's kind of interesting, but I've been looking at it, and I don't really have super bold, loud political takes on anything, except for as everyone makes fun of me on this show often. I don't like guns, but besides that, I don't really have any political takes.
I have a question.
Okay.
It seems like Reddit and X, Twitter, are very male-centric platforms. First question, do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Second question, why? Why do we think that is?
I think it's pretty masculine behavior to just share your thoughts and opinions and just get them out there, I guess.
It's very combative. And then you think about the stereotypical female experience is much more emotional feel and then also image based. So I think that's probably just in general why. But also Goodreads is so female heavy too.
Yeah.
So it's when it comes in the form of books, for some reason it can become much more female, or at least in my world, Goodreads is super feminine, or not feminine's not the right word, but it's much more female dominated.
Yeah.
Okay.
But maybe in the grander schemes, maybe Goodreads is much more males. But so I think it's very interesting how when you can post and females can have a huge rhetoric around what was happening in a book. Book clubs are mostly women things too, and versus it's on Twitter and it's just a random thought, or it's it's rhetoric or not rhetoric. It's not the right word. It's whenever it's commentary on a current event, it can get super dicey. But when it comes to this random story about the Nightingale, girls are well, it can just go ham no holds bar.
Huh.
But anyway, so I've been seeing a bunch of stuff online this week. Mostly the two that I find the most fascinating on Twitter. The rumor that Barack Obama and Michelle Obama's marriage is falling apart, and Kamala Harris, since she didn't get elected, her marriage is also falling apart.
Okay.
And I've never seen that literally anywhere, and then it's just going crazy on Twitter this week. I think that's fascinating.
That's crazy.
I have absolutely no idea if it's true, but on Twitter it is. And then also, Twitter is freaking owned by Elon Musk, and people all over Twitter. And Twitter is definitely like a Republican place. Like, there's not many like Democrat like people on Twitter left anymore because Elon Musk is like obviously Republican god now. And his Nazi salute thing that he did, and I've just seen that everywhere. And I literally have no idea why he did it. I don't know any context around it or anything. So I was going to ask y'all if y'all knew anything about it.
Yeah. Well, number one, I actually just got back on X like a week ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago. And
why did you get back on, Sam?
I made it for like an account for the Flying Panthers, just so I could just have it, so I could just post like links to anytime I post.
And what is the Flying Panthers for our listeners?
The Flying Panthers. So I started making music. I'm gonna get into that later, actually, because I'm gonna hammer this real quick. We'll come back to that in a second. But I got back on X and made that account, and I made a point to like, okay, I'm just gonna follow like music accounts and Alabama men's basketball. That was all I wanted. That's the only thing I want to see on my feed.
Yeah.
But it's almost like X doesn't care. They're just going to keep pushing a bunch of political crap into my feed.
Yeah, that's like all they want you to get sucked into that crap.
But literally 80% of my feed was just a bunch of politics and stuff. And I'm like scrolling and it's just like politics, Alabama men's basketball highlight, more politics. I didn't see any music at all on there. And I kept seeing the whole Nazi salute thing, and then they were like, oh, wow, look at all these Democratic candidates doing the same exact thing Elon did. You guys didn't say anything then, did you? And I was like, okay, well, this is just absolute crap.
It also is crazy, too. Like, this was the craziest thing that I saw. I don't know who it was. And, again, like, you never know if any of this crap is even real. If this guy was it might have just been some guy in L.A. with a good Austrian accent. But there was, like, it looked like there was a guy in Austria that was some sort of like public figure. He was like standing at like an outdoor PR meeting, I guess is like a post-game conference kind of thing. And he is saying, because he's Austrian, he's like speaking with authority on how much it did look like a Nazi salute.
Elon's kind of dumb for that.
And I wanted to be like first off, like, no hate to Austria, but like y'all literally were Nazis. So like I don't think that y'all are allowed to like judge other people for being Nazis ever. Like y'all are kind of just like blackballed forever. I don't know, maybe that's a dumb take, but I'm like, that kind of be like a white guy being like, I used to be a slave owner, so like that stuff over there, that's definitely racist. Like that's like I don't think you're allowed to do that. Anyways, there's my craziest Twitter. There's my craziest political take I'll ever share.
I think that
Am I off on that? Do y'all think like Austrians shouldn't be like authoritatively talking about what a Nazi salute is and what's not?
Let's talk about this. Like, what was going through Elon's mind? It was like, okay, the Republicans won the election. He starts running up on the stage doing this number, slaps his shoulder, and straight up goes Heil Hitler. I'm just like, what are you doing, man?
I think the Austrians and Germans are like extremely sensitive to that part of their history.
Why do you think that is?
I think they should.
I think they should be sensitive to that. So I imagine he was probably saying that mostly as like a dig at Elon, because everyone wants to dig at Elon.
Yeah.
But I do think it's fair that they say something like that, because they're very concerned about not perpetuating Nazism as like a general people. Obviously, there are some people who probably still are Nazis in those countries, but they are not the majority.
Yeah.
If you're still a Nazi, bro, that is some crazy energy.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. Yeah, it is strange, though. But the original question of, do you know the context of that?
of Elon's thing?
Yeah,
I
like
have
why
no
he
idea.
did. I'm gonna look it
I
up.
saw like the video that was like 10 seconds long of him like beating his chest and throwing his hand up, but I don't know. I don't know anything about why he did that or what the context was. To me, my knee-jerk reaction was like, in the heat of the moment, you're on stage in front of a bunch of people, and he just like was making a fool out of himself because he was nervous to be in front of thousands of people. Because that happens, like people get destroyed on the internet for doing like things that they don't actually mean all the time. Yeah. But I don't know, because from everything I've read about Elon, like I've read his biography that Sir Walter Isaacson wrote, and I've listened to him in a bunch of interviews and things like that, and I would be very surprised to find out that he was some sort of a Nazi sympathizer, because he spent his whole life doing a lot of things to try and better humanity, and I would just say that he's probably one of the most successful people in moving forward the needle of human innovation.
Yep.
And he's done that with the intention of making humanity as a whole better. He's not very good at maintaining good personal relationships, from what I understand, because of his obsessive personality. Hence his strange family situation with like multiple wives and
you see,
like
I didn't know
children.
about any of that family thing that was going on with Elon until like now. Like I knew he had a kid and his name's like X43-5 something. Yeah. Like something weird like that. But that's very Elon of him to do that.
Yeah.
But I think at his core, I think he was just like, he's just weird. And he was just like, he did the whole like Nazi salute thing, but he just straight up wasn't even thinking about it. That's what I think happened. But he generated thousands of conspiracy theories as soon as he did that. So
instantaneously.
Like, thanks for doing that one, Elon.
I mean, he's also like
not very well, like definitely not a PR trained guy.
I think he's probably the most powerful person in like human terms who's ever walked this earth. I don't think anyone's ever had as much like influence in the world.
You know, this is kind of an ironic time to say this, but I think Hitler might have at one point. I also think maybe Nero or like a Roman emperor.
Yeah.
Well, no one's
or
ever
like Genghis Khan, isn't that his name?
Genghis had a lot of power. Jesus Christ had a lot of power. Muhammad had a lot of power.
Jesus is the most
Muhammad
powerful
and Jesus
person.
Christ didn't have very much like they had, I mean, since then Jesus has had the most impact, but like, and Muhammad has had almost as much impact as
Let's
Jesus.
talk about
but
Adam and
less.
Eve too. I mean, those were the two first
But like
male and female
current power, yeah, like he has a lot. I mean, I actually don't really know the scope of what he has going on. I know that in America he has a bunch of stuff going on, but I don't know if people anywhere else care. Like,
actually,
I don't know, maybe they do.
The most powerful, the person that contains the most power in terms of humankind is going to be Adam and Eve, because they were the ones that ate the fruit and caused us to live a life full of turmoil. And we
Who
had
do
to
you
deal
think
with
is the
things
most
like this.
powerful people on Earth right now?
People group?
No, not people group. People like what? Like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs. Like,
I mean, I think Elon Musk is the most powerful person around. I mean,
on Earth.
Like, on Earth. Okay, so I mean, he's the richest. You could debate, you know, his net worth fluctuates, but he's got X, SpaceX, Tesla. There's like robots and AI kind of, I think, fall under the umbrella of Tesla. He's running basically.
He's got the Boring Company.
He's basically got like 6 or 7 companies in adjacent industries.
This is another thing I would have never found out unless X just, you know, their algorithm sucked and just plugged political crap like Sam and I were talking about.
Yeah.
Boring Company is a company I didn't know existed, but Elon Musk, it's one of his companies, and I don't know why it's called Boring Company, but one of the products that they're coming out with right now are these tunnels, and I didn't know about these until this past week, but they're like pretty much prefabricated tunnels, and Elon Musk has got like this, like literally, if any of y'all ever watched The Undertaker, I think was his name, in The Incredibles.
Yes.
The guy who dug the tunnels.
Yeah.
He literally built one of, like, Elon Musk has patented one of those like tunnel drills, and it drills this hole that's like just bigger than like a G-Wagon or something like that, like a bigger SUV.
Okay.
And it drills in the exact shape of these like prefabricated tunnel holes that you can put together. And the way that he's marketing it is he just built them underneath Las Vegas. So it's like if you want to dodge traffic in Las Vegas, you know, he kind of is, because the tunnels don't look like, they're very claustrophobic, but like he's kind of making people do these trade-offs of like, if you hate traffic enough, like you'll take these. And so anyways, I thought it was like a super fascinating thing.
It's
and
like
I'm
a
really
combination
curious.
of a subway and a taxi system.
Huh.
Yeah.
So it's like on demand, place to place, underground transportation
Oh,
using
so you
Teslas.
have to rent a car that goes through it.
You get picked up, like you would like order a taxi. You would order a
Yeah.
Tesla to come pick you up in a tunnel, and then they will take you to the next stop or whichever stop you need.
I didn't know. I thought you could just take your own car. You have to take one of their cars.
Yeah,
through it.
so you like go underground, hop in a car, then you get delivered to your next location.
Dude, that's actually crazy.
And it's generated like tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue from that service just in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Wait,
well,
hold on. People are already using this thing?
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
already the one that in Las Vegas is already open.
I think it's the only one that's opened yet.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. So how
Which
do you
it's-
like? how do you-
imagine in an earthquake area, it would be impossible, or like in like New Orleans. Like there's like probably some sort of places that are at risk for natural disaster. They couldn't do it, but yeah, that and then the thing that I saw in Austin that I sent you, the Waylu or whatever, isn't that his company too?
The self-driving car?
Uh-huh.
I don't think so. If it was his company, it'd be a Tesla, not a Jaguar.
Oh yeah.
Which that car you sent
Whenever
me
I was in Austin, there's another
Waymo.
crazy thing. Waymo. They have self-driving Ubers in Austin. There's one that just like picked up these two people on the road and they just drove off. Completely self-driving. It's crazy.
That's wild, right
Dude,
there.
we're in the future, man.
How do you go about buying land underground to make tunnels?
I don't think you do have to buy land. I think that's
Just start drilling.
yeah. I think it's no one's land. It's the only part of the world that's not bought in any way.
Because I'm
Yeah,
thinking
I don't
like,
know, because there are certain rights that you have to the ground underneath the topsoil which you own.
Right.
I know that because my grandmother had mineral rights to a piece of property that she didn't own the property, but she owned the mineral rights.
Okay.
And so then when there was like a oil and gas company that was drilling for oil in the land that she owned the mineral rights to, and so then they would send her checks in the mail whenever they yielded a certain amount. I don't know if she was making like 5% off of whatever they yielded or something like
That's
that.
pretty
but
cool.
she was just literally getting mailbox money from owning mineral rights to a piece of land. So I imagine there is probably some kind of like similar to how the United States owns like airspace above
Yeah.
certain properties so you can't fly over them, or like
Yeah.
the boundaries of a country extend out into a certain point in the water out around the edges of the country. I imagine there's something like that underground, but I don't know how you
I think it's
determine
crazy
that.
how if you're at the beach and you're getting chased by police, you can literally run into the water and they can't touch you. I think that is the craziest rule that exists.
I didn't know that was a rule.
Yeah, as soon as you get on international waters, it's not there. It's another thing. It's the same thing as like if you're getting chased by Gardendale police and you drive into Fultondale, they can't pull you over.
Huh.
Like one time I got pulled over. I almost took this one to court, but I did. I was speeding, so I didn't. But I was on the way back from Dad's birthday.
Yeah.
So January 27th is coming up here in a few days. This was like junior or sophomore year of college. I was like, late night at the house. I was super tired. Getting back to Sanford, it's like a 25-minute drive. Sped on Lakeshore. Getting back, it's like a 35-mile-an-hour thing, but you could drive 900 at 11 p.m. and not hit a single thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, they still caught me. And they pulled me over into Sanford's lot, which is illegal. Like you can't pull someone. A public city cop can't pull someone over in private property.
Okay.
But I still got a ticket, and I almost took it to court to be like, hey, this person.
You should
gave me a
have. You
ticket
could get
and-
off on a technicality even though you're speeding.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm
You
a
should
good
have.
citizen.
You should have used our promo code to Ticket Clinic.
Is that a thing? People could.
Some of the car podcasts that I follow get sponsored by Ticket Clinic, which is like a app that you get on that helps you fight your traffic citations.
Traffic citation.
Hey,
Yeah.
speaking of tickets, my last ticket experience was my favorite of all my ticket experience. You know what I'm talking about, Steve?
Yeah, you told me a little bit about this.
Yeah, I was driving back home after when I was working at Highland Park cutting grass, cutting the greens in the morning, driving back home, and the cop pulled me over for going like 90 in a 60. Thought it was a 70, doesn't matter because I was speeding, and he gave me a reckless driving ticket.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was being reckless. So I went to court or whatever, had to sit there for 3 hours.
7 a.m.
Yeah, at 7 a.m. Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. And then they were like, okay, you can go to driving school, and then I'll like take it off your record or whatever. Went to driving school, and this was the most riveting day of school I've ever had in my life. And I've had a lot of really good classrooms and classmates and all this stuff. I got there, and there were these two guys behind me, and they were cutting up the entire time, just messing with the professor. But the professor was like messing with them back.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was so funny, and we all got a picture together at the end of the day.
That's crazy.
It was awesome, man.
That would be me. That's why I can't be a professor, because I would not take it seriously, and I would also cut up with my students.
The last time I had driving school, I've had driving school 3 times. I used to be a regular of getting speeding tickets whenever I originally started driving. I don't really speed anymore because of that, to be honest with you, because the last one was so miserable. But it was at it was like somewhere like, it was like in Macadory or something. Like it was like some like random, like Bessemer, like just random town out in like east of Birmingham. But it was the only one they had available on a day that on a Saturday that I could go. So I drive out there, and no one knows what driving school is, it's like the biggest waste of time. It literally could be done in 30 minutes if they just like sped through it. Also, the test that you have to take at the end of the day, like a 4-year-old could take and still pass. So it's like even the content that you study, but it takes all day. You get there at 8, you leave at 5.
Yeah.
And they just like slowly just tell you like it's like these old people who I guess are just like trying to make some retirement coin. And they're just like, they tell so many pointless freaking stories. It's like ridiculous. But anyways, so I show up at this like freaking Holiday Inn Express or something like out in the middle of nowhere, like suburb of Birmingham. And we like are sitting in one of those like conference rooms they have in like the lobby.
Yeah.
And they like it was March Madness. I remember that. So I watched basketball I watched Premier League all morning and basketball all afternoon on my laptop. And obviously all the other guys in the class were doing the same thing because it was like I think like Alabama played like while we were in there.
Yeah.
And they gave us this binder with all the info in it. So everybody was like had their binder up and then was like watching their games inside the binder. Classic. And
right.
and over like probably like 4 rows to the right of me, there was like this woman who showed up with like a notebook, like stationery, like like a pencil pouch with like tons of stuff. Like she was like definitely like the girl that everybody freaking hated in school.
Yeah.
And she had like all this crap, and she was like so prim and proper. But it was like, you're in here because you freaking got a speeding ticket. Like, I don't understand why you think you're so. Anyways, she had this like just vibe to her that I really didn't like. And then like around 2:00 in the afternoon, because like earlier that day, the professor obviously was like, "Don't have your phone out."
Right.
And then like around 2:00 that afternoon, this guy that's like sitting in front of her, like she sees that he has his phone out.
Yeah.
And she like raises her hand. She's like, Mr. whatever his name was, Lawrence. Maybe Mr. Lawrence, like, I just want to let you know that like this man in front of me has been watching basketball on his phone for the past hour. And the guy was like, what the heck is your problem? It's like this, but they're both like 45-year-old people. And I'm like sitting over there. I'm like, literally everyone had like, I'm sitting over there in the corner, and it's like all like, over on my side, and it's all like 19-year-olds like me.
Yeah.
These like 2 like 45-year-old morons. But just like seeing like a 45-year-old man get snitched on by like this freaking pest of a 45-year-old woman, and him just get like absolutely pissed.
That's crazy.
And like
that's crazy.
The professor was like apologetic to the man because he like the professor knows like, dude, you're like, who are you kidding? Like, obviously all of you are on your phone. Like, this is a technicality in itself. But the woman was like, the man was like, you shouldn't be looking over my shoulder, like, you know, and then like walked and went to a different part of the room, and she just like, literally everybody was so mad at her. Like
That's
everyone
so
in the
funny.
room. She was like probably at one point or another in the day, she was like the only person who didn't have their phone out watching some sort of like something on their, like, you know, there was like girls in there playing Candy Crush and crap. But it was so freaking funny being in like Bessemer, Alabama, these like random Alabama people, and this 45-year-old woman snitches on this man, and like that dude got so freaking mad.
That's tough.
But yeah, driving school is like, the vibes of the professors are just like beyond me. They are so strange. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know how to put it into words, but like seeing a 65-year-old man like tell me countless stories about like car wrecks and countless stories about like him getting, you know, him like looking and like looking down on all these like 17-year-old like huge trucks driving around Alabama for countless hours in my life. It's just I don't understand like how that type of person exists in the world, that they're like okay to just like sit around and just chat. Because I feel like I would be the same way as you, Myers. I would just like show up and be like, guys, we all know this is a technicality. Y'all just like sit in here and for like 3 hours, I'm gonna go through this, and then like if y'all behave, then like y'all are gonna be out by lunch.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
but for some reason, maybe there's like maybe an auditor, or maybe there's like a fake person in the class who's
Right.
like,
You see,
like check them or something.
I would do something similar to that, but I would be very similar to the professor I most recently had, and I'd be like, we can also cut up a little bit in here. You know, like,
Let's at least like make this fun, not just like freaking miserable.
Samuel, tell us about space, outer space.
space, man. I've been on a huge space kick this past week, and man, it is absolutely mesmerizing. I love looking into the deep cosmos, and just like, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, we've sent like satellites that have flown past Pluto. We have one orbiting around Jupiter right now. We have several around Mars. We have one orbiting around Venus, which I don't understand that because the sun is so freaking hot. Like,
Yeah.
how do we even do that?
Yeah.
But the one that really caught my eye, because we were talking about like how just big space is. I'm like, what is the furthest object from Earth? Like, what is the furthest human-made object that we've sent out there? And that's when I saw the Voyager 1 and the Voyager 2. And we shipped off Voyager 1 in, I think it was September 2nd, 1977.
Yeah.
Been in the air, or been in space, not the air, for 47 years or something like that. And it is 15.5 billion miles away right now. 15.5 billion. And we can still communicate with it. It takes 24 hours to send a transmission to it, and then it takes 24 hours to send a transmission back. And somehow, through these transmissions, they have been able to update the satellite somehow and just
That's crazy.
maintain contact with it. So, yeah, it's pretty insane. Like, it is outside of our solar system. It is in interstellar space right now, and yeah, it's wild.
So like, is that how far away another galaxy is? Like, has it found anything yet, or is it still just in space?
It's still several like 100 light years away or something like that from the nearest galaxy. And
See, that crap's crazy to me. How does that happen?
I don't,
Why is it so far away?
yeah, I don't know. It's just like, but they've sent it out. It's literally 15.5 minutes, and they're saying it's flying at like 34,000 miles per hour or 38,000 miles per hour right now. It's just flying out there, man.
I guess like once you shoot it off, I don't know how it got that fast, but like once you shoot it off, like there's no resistance in space.
I was gonna
So
say,
it just
there's no
never
gravity.
stops going that.
Yeah.
Right.
You just like keep speeding it up over and over and over again, and gradually over time. I wonder how much. Like that's crazy because literally there's no resistance at all, so like there's nothing it won't wear off or anything like that.
Exactly. But like with the technology we have right now, and the more I look into this, I'm like, we can make something go faster than the speed of light if we really wanted to in outer space. We can make something go so fast that we can get to the next solar system within a matter of seconds, really, because nothing's stopping it. We just got to figure out how to like get it to
Stop
go that
it.
fast. and then make it stop. Because I think unless like we have some kind of gravity that's going to shift us or pull us, if we were to put a human inside of that object, fly at that speed, and then stop, I don't think our body should morph into something. Now, we would go so fast that
it would have it has its own gravitational pull. That's the only thing it would be doing.
well, they say that the faster you go, like the slower time goes for you. So it's like if you go that fast, you get to that galaxy that was 100 whatever light years away. They say that you'll get there in a matter of seconds, but like 4 million years is going to pass on Earth by the time you get there.
Whoa.
And that's where the mathematics and the physics do not compute in my brain.
Never
but I've
has.
seen them do renditions of it and how they explain
I like
how time
that
works. It's
computes so little in my head. I want to say I think they're wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like I know that's probably ignorant, but I genuinely am like, how in the
Wrong.
world does that make sense?
Wrong.
You're wrong. I know. You don't.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But it's super fascinating to me. I love like
So-
how much we know about it now and stuff. It's cool.
Do you think that because this is a point of contrast between me and Sam, and also kind of me and Myers. I think that space exploration is the biggest waste of time. Yeah, I know that it's the biggest waste of time ever. I think the only thing that would maybe be like a bigger waste of time would be like us even talking about it right now. But you're going out there, it's been 47 years. It's in outer space.
Yeah.
You're sending information to it, they're receiving information back. It's in a big black void right now. It's literally if it didn't exist, it wouldn't matter. That's like all you know about that machine, and that blows my freaking mind. Like the fact that it's out there in the middle of nowhere, quite literally the middle of nowhere. It is passing through matter, like a space right now that nothing has ever passed through ever.
Yeah.
That's also crazy to think about. But besides that, I don't know if that gives it significance or not, you know? I know that it gives it something. But going to explore Mars, no one's ever going to actually be able to live on Mars and live a good life. That's just true.
That's going to lead us into another topic here about the terraformation of the planet Mars.
What is the terraformation?
So when you terraform, it's when you change the biological makeup of
Environment.
environment of something. Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily hit the nail on the head on that, but they're basically
You formate the terrain.
Yeah. They've talked about it. I watched a video with a bunch of different experiments on it, and it's talking about how they're going to terraform it. They're going to try and melt the ice caps on the North Pole of Mars, and they're going to try and make all the ice melt, and they're just going to have a bunch of water on that planet again. They're saying it used to pretty much be like Earth, some 4 billion years ago, and I don't believe that at all. But the video rendition of how they're going to terraform it and stuff was very interesting. I don't think they said it was going to take 1,000 years.
Yeah, they'll probably
but
frick up everything if they try to do that. I don't see a world where anybody's like, yeah, we should do that. I'm sure that sounds great to people that are geologists and crap.
But humans are
astrologists.
explorers. You might see no point in doing that, but other people are like, that's cool. I'm going to go anyways.
I just think that
want to expand our horizons.
The majority of Earth is going to have to vote on that, because if that goes wrong, then everyone on Earth is going to die. So
If what goes wrong?
if they biologically malform something else in the galaxy, then everything. There's a likelihood that everything else will also biologically malform in result to it.
Okay.
So if Mars had water, then the gravitational pull would be different there, which means the gravitational pull for us would be different, and we would all suck into the sun or die or something.
No, I don't think the gravitational pull would do that.
I know you don't, but I know that some people would. I know that some people would get freaked out about that.
I don't think
because
that the
we
highest
know that
paid-
life here works good, or not good, but like good enough. But we don't know at all if life there would work good.
Astrophysicists know.
But we do know that there's a chance that if life does work good there, then no life here would work good. Even though it's not a 100% chance, it is a chance. So it's just like a basic logic sense. It's like, why risk something you know that does work on something you don't know could work?
No, like we know that we could build specific pods on Mars, even the moon, and we could live there. Like literally, like people could live there.
We don't know that.
No, we do know that.
No, we don't, because they're always doing it.
We
No
have
one's
like
ever
drones
done it.
on Mars right now.
Yeah, that aren't human.
Yes, but they do. They run the numbers. They do the research. Like we can go there.
In fact, I don't think we've ever even put humans up there. Like, we don't know anything about how humans interact.
Which brings us into today's main topic. Myers thinks that humans have never gone to space. Or maybe not humans, but humans have never gone
Humans
to
have never
landed.
been to the moon.
Never
Humans
been
have gone to space, but humans have never gone to the moon.
Yeah. How lonely do you think it must be to live in a freaking whatever they're called, satellite?
Very.
Yeah, but they don't do it one at a time. I mean, they're up there with like, I think on the International Space Station, they've had as many as 30 or 40 astronauts.
In that at one time?
In that at one time, yeah. I mean, it's a gigantic station.
Dude, that's crazy, actually.
I didn't realize it was that big.
That was huge. Yeah, very, very big. I think it's the size of like 2 football fields
Wow.
or something like that. Very cool.
That sounds absolutely terrifying to me. I don't understand why anyone would ever want to do that. But I'm actually, that's not right. I do understand why people want to do that. But that's nuts, though. Myers, will you help us will you help us understand the moon landing and maybe its possible faultiness?
My primary logical argument is if we went to the moon 60 plus years ago, however long ago it was, why can we not go back? I can't think of a time where we have created an unbelievable technological advancement to then just throw it in the garbage like a few years later.
Yeah.
Like what if Bill Gates spent $175 billion to invent the computer and then just threw it away after he proved that a computer could work? Because that is basically what people are claiming that NASA did. NASA spent almost $200 billion in 1960s money to go to the moon.
Right.
And then said, all right.
That is a very good point.
Yeah.
If
Also,
technology
the
is
International Space Station hosts 7 people at a time.
okay.
There you
I thought it was like 5 to 10.
It is huge, though.
Like, think about how we've gone from like 100, maybe 140 years. We've gone from little bitty bicycles with small engines to Teslas
Yeah.
in 100 years.
Yeah, I don't understand why
technological
why did
advancement-
we stop going to the moon? I'm going to look that up.
Yeah, that's a head scratcher for me as well, especially with the advanced technology that we have right now. I'm like, why are we not sending another satellite into space that could fly even faster than the Voyager, could catch up and fly past the Voyager within a matter of maybe 5 years?
If we really went to the moon, then 60 years later now, we probably should have been to Mars by now. Like human beings gone to Mars.
For sure.
60 years later. Because we innovate at such a fast pace.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If they went to the moon or staged some sort of moon thing next year, like which technically they could because we've done it before, do you think that you would believe it then? Like what would it take
If Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos sent someone to the moon now, I would totally believe it.
I wouldn't believe it for a second, bro. Elon Musk's space stuff looks so fake online.
You were saying that when he caught the rocket, you told me you thought
Dude,
that
I
was
don't know if
fake.
anybody that's listening watched them catch the rocket, which is just like Elon Musk has this way of like like it's like a landing pad for a rocket, and it literally looks like the most AI generated thing I've ever
So
seen.
you don't believe that SpaceX is catching rockets, but you do believe that we went to the moon.
I don't believe I never said that I believe we went to the moon. I don't know what to believe. I'm sitting here and I know that Sam believes we went to the moon. I know you don't believe we went to the moon. I'm sitting here. I'm trying to make an
You're agnostic.
educated guess.
There's a gentleman. I'm trying to remember his name.
Lance Armstrong.
Nope.
Vince Armstrong.
It's not an astronaut.
Okay.
But he's done all of the research that I was reading into how the moon landing was faked.
Yeah.
And he's the guy who asked Lance. Is it Lance Armstrong? Is that the dude's name?
No, wait, no. Vince Armstrong.
No, it was
the astronaut Armstrong. Something Armstrong.
Lance Armstrong is the
biker.
cyclist. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Vince. I actually don't know.
You're gonna frustrate me now if you gotta look this up.
Mr. Armstrong, the astronaut, he's the one who went to him and asked him to swear on the Bible that he went to the moon, and then Armstrong punched this guy in the face. So, again, logic follows. If you went to the moon and someone's like, swear on the Bible that you went to the moon, and you'd be like, whoa, dude, like, okay. Like
Neil
Armstrong. Thank you.
Neil Armstrong
Vince,
as part of the Apollo
Vince.
11 mission in 1969.
If Neil Armstrong actually went to the moon and some dude comes up to him and says, swear on the Bible that you went to the moon, is your response not like, this dude's kind of weird? Like, sure, I'll do your thing, whatever.
But he was probably fed up with everybody asking him that.
I don't know, man.
Like, he's definitely said, like, I've been to the moon. I promise you I've been to the moon.
And more people believe him than don't believe him. So again, this dude who I've been reading about is seen as the crazy guy.
Yeah, it is super weird to me. Just the general fact that
Deny this
NASA
right here. You see, this is a picture of my good buddy Neil on the moon right here.
Neil.
How are we able to get this HD of an image?
It's just strange to me that NASA doesn't exist anymore. Like, why does it not exist anymore?
No, it does.
I mean, I know, but like, it's
not in the same capacity that it was
like
in the 60s.
I also just want to ask someone like that just feels like so dumb that this is gonna sound weird, but like obviously Russia's pretty smart in order to do it. Like they've done some pretty evil stuff in the past, but like Russia's pretty smart. They wouldn't just fall for some stupid plan like, we got to beat America to the moon. Let's bankrupt our whole country. That just feels so simple and silly for very historically very powerful, like an intelligent.
There are also lots of photos where like the shadow of the man astronaut will be facing this way, and then the shadow from like the rock next to him that's supposedly on the moon is facing this way. Yeah. So then the question's like, why? Like nowhere on Earth where the sun hits is the shadow going one direction versus another, because that's not how the sun.
Also, there's like no wind on the moon, and the flag is like flies. Yeah, that's the other one.
Yeah.
Well, but the Hubble telescope, so when they landed on the moon, it detached one part of it and it started to fly around the moon in orbit, which was the engine that was going to shoot it back to Earth. And then another part of it detached. It was called the Eagle. And then it landed onto the moon. And it was also kind of a two-part thing. And then when it shot back up into the air, part of it was left on the moon. The Hubble telescope can still find it. And they have like pictures of each one of the Apollo mission stations that have been on there.
Also, first try, they take off from Earth. Go up into space, land on the moon, fly back. First try?
Yeah, it seems pretty insane.
Yeah.
Come on. How many times has Elon tested rockets in Texas and in Florida?
They tested a lot of different rockets and had a lot of test missions before they actually went up to the moon.
And first try, just bang, on the moon.
Well, you want to be efficient. You want to be sure to get the people back.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is like one of those time-old things where it's like I feel like when people talk about 9/11, I'm kind of like, I don't know if this is like, I don't know if we're allowed to like do this right now. But with the moon, it's definitely like one of those things where it just feels so like it's pretty easy to get to the point where it's like that definitely could be fake, But also, like, this definitely is just like a big waste of time to go to the moon, because like they went there, didn't find anything. None of the findings really were that cool that they even, if it was real or if it was fake. Like, say it was real, they went up there like how many times? Like 13 times or something like that, and they literally never found anything except for like, these are what the rocks are. If there's a big hole on there, that's the moon.
Yep.
And then everybody was like, okay, like, I don't think we should be spending billions of dollars of our tax money sending people up there if we're just going to keep being like, cool rock, you know?
Yeah.
Seems like a little bit like a waste. So I can kind of understand why they stopped, but like, it is super fascinating to me how Elon Musk is kind of doing the same thing right now, where he's like predominantly funding a way to like make a frick ton of money off of satellite data, by this whole like hoax of like space exploration. So his marketing, like the poster for his company is like, we can go to Mars one day. And everybody's like, oh, this guy's a legend. But like the only reason he's wanting to research space exploration is so that he can have like bounty and access over all the satellites.
Well, Musk, from my understanding, believes that life on Earth is not forever, and so he believes that if the human race is going to perpetuate itself, that we have to get into space.
This is the fake thing. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is a fake rhetoric he's selling, so that what he actually can do is everyone who uses a satellite, they'll have to pay him money.
You're arguing that he's profit motivated?
1 billion%. He is. What other motive has he ever had in life?
He doesn't own anything.
What do you literally just said he was the most powerful person, and your grounds for that was his net worth.
He doesn't have like big old houses, supercars. Like, he doesn't have possessions. He is very mission driven.
I would say he's like pretty power driven. I don't think he was like. He also does own, like, he literally owns a car company, and he owns huge houses like all over the place.
No, he sold all of his houses.
When did he do that?
Like a couple years ago.
Why did he? What?
Because his trans child claimed and went on this whole tangent about how rich people are evil and people who have lots of money and flaunt it are the worst kind of people on earth, and he was trying to make amends with his child, so he sold all of his homes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
What a noble act.
What an absolute noble act.
He is. I can say for sure that he is not like profit motivated.
I just
He's
definitely
never really been money motivated.
I'm definitely not the only person who believes this, but like, there's absolutely no way that we could ever live life on Mars or anywhere else and have good lives.
Yeah,
there's no way.
I think that, I can see why you think that. He's a very successful person, but I think his overall motive is to create things to make life better for humans.
He's very interested in making humanity better, but he's not necessarily good at like the making your life better kind of thing. He's a grand scale, big picture guy.
Clearly,
he's
he has
not
made Steven's life better.
He's
Steven
not
hates
good
this
at
guy.
like taking care of my employees here that I interact with every day.
Right.
He's very like, I'm going to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Maybe he has. I'm not seeing it, but maybe he has in some way. He's going to make traffic better in Las Vegas if you pay him. And he's going to make your...
He's bringing internet to remote areas all over the world.
That's fair. That was Mark Zuckerberg's idea.
Wow. Mark Zuckerberg.
You remember that? He said that was like his whole thing. He was like, we're getting people connected all across the globe. And it was like this Somalian, like freaking... It was like a orphanage in Africa that had Facebook, and I was like, I don't know if that's good for them.
Mark's kind of swaggy now. Man.
I listened to a guy.
I think we should maybe bring water everywhere first.
I listened to a guy on a podcast yesterday. He's one of the guys.
What are we doing? We're not
it's like, hey, love you, Elon. I don't really want a Wi-Fi router. I'd love like healthcare, like a hospital, maybe.
Appreciate the free Wi-Fi.
Maybe like a water treatment facility everywhere.
Kind of dying over here. Here's some internet access.
kids in freaking Ghana can
You can Google how to fix yourself.
Watch
now.
Ice Spice music videos and die of like dehydration. Sorry.
That's crazy though. With the amount of resources that we have on Earth right now, there are still people all over this world that do not have access to clean, drinkable water.
Literally, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, and
it's crazy
also,
to me how
you live in a place where you
Birmingham.
don't have access to clean water, and you stay there. What are you doing?
We live in Birmingham, Alabama. Like, I mean, this city is like hundreds of years old, and you still at Walmart you can buy jugs of clean water because people don't have access to clean drinking water here. Like, or they can't afford a refrigerator or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's so interesting. That is something that I've asked people, you know, because I've been on 5 of these filter folk mission trips now, where we go and install water filters in people's homes in Cuba.
Yeah,
and the answer there is pretty simple. Why they stay there, and that is because the only other place they are allowed to go is the Soviet Union, or Russia. Or another ally. I don't know what other, maybe in Nicaragua. Yeah. Pretty much everywhere they go, they're gonna either be like, they're gonna like starve to death, or you know, it's just like your choice. So it's mostly family there.
Yeah.
But in places like Panama, like in Panama, you can literally go get a job with like a huge company. Like that's the most fascinating part there. I don't understand how this works, but like because the Panama Canal, the skyscraper there's are freaking ginormous. Like it looks like Miami or like New York City or something. Like it's a mega city.
Is this like the city. Song by Van Halen, Panama? Or is that? Do you think it's about the same area?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
But Panama City, Panama is a humongous city, and but at the bottom of these huge buildings, literally at the base floor, it'll be like Ferrari dealership next door to like a slum. Is the most interesting.
Very interesting.
It can happen in the same place, and I'm like, how did they get so big brain without like becoming like at least a little bit more small brain? But it's also like those places are so indigenous, and they want people to respect like origin of culture so much.
Yeah,
and obviously America kind of got to skip past that. Like they got to like kind of do development before there was like this ethical boom, I guess. Probably mostly because of America. I don't actually know why, but I think it's so interesting though, like how all of these places around the world have these huge like contrasts in like there's like tons of money here and no money here, but also that probably exists in like I remember going to I delivered like this Thanksgiving meal or no Christmas meal and Christmas presents to this house in. It was like something that the church did where I took like a turkey and a bunch of sides to this house. That's like it was like by the airport. It's probably like 10 minutes away from here. And we like walked in and they literally had like absolutely nothing in their house. Like it was like a kind of like a Section 8 housing situation. And like they didn't have I don't really remember exactly what it was, but like they didn't have a kitchen. It was just kind of like one room with like beds and couches that like you kind of look like you get off the street or something like that. And we like just delivered them their stuff and like sat down there and like hung out with them for a while. And it was crazy to me. Like they didn't have heat or like AC, or I mean maybe they did have access to it, but it wasn't on. And they also had like running water, but they didn't have clean water.
Yeah.
And it was like just one of those times where 10 minutes away from the house is here, like my house.
Yeah.
There's like people that are doing the same exact thing in this city. So it's just crazy to me how like I don't really know exactly what to make of it because like you know, is it a human's right to clean water? Like I don't know, but it like in the same conversation, it's like, is it a human's right to the internet? Like I don't know about that either, but I know that if it is like. One way or another, like you're not like you can't make money off of someone having clean water, but you can make money off of someone like having internet. Man, it's just fascinating.
I need to start investing in water,
dude. We got to start investing in water. Me and Mars talked about this on our run this past week. How
we're gonna start BBWW. better Birmingham Waterworks.
Like we were talking about how crazy it is how there's no competitors. Like you'd think in capitalism kingdom America, there would be more than one Alabama Power. But not only is there not only one Alabama Power, there's only one company for all of Georgia and Alabama. Like and
Southern Company.
Isn't Southern Company in North Carolina too or something? It's in another
It's like the southeast.
Yeah. It's like another state. They just like the Alabama, like the power supply is like completely taken up. And then gas is only Spire. And then water is only BWW. And
Spectrum's trying to make a monopoly, but we
literally, Spectrum could die today and I would have zero remorse. I absolutely despise that company.
I hate them.
I don't think I've ever had anyone say that they anyone ever say one positive thing about them.
The guy who came out to install my router, he was really nice.
Oh, okay. Shout out that guy.
There we go. First nice thing.
Yeah. That's the only good thing I have to say about them. I have
I
bad things to say.
I had to search something on Google once, and I was able to do that because of Charter.
Wow.
Second nice thing.
Wow.
There you go. Charter did their job.
I had just searched something one time and had the ability to.
Thanks, Charter. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Sam, we haven't been able to talk about the Flying Panthers at all. Would you like to spend some time talking about that?
Would love to, man. Would absolutely.
We'll get back to bashing Elon Musk again here in a few minutes.
For sure. Yes, the Flying Panthers, man. I love doing it. So the Flying Panthers started a long time ago. When I was younger, would play a lot of Guitar Hero.
A few thousand years ago, I think.
Few thousand. Yep. Before we landed on the moon, I played Guitar Hero all the time. Love music. Always have loved music. But it was like that segment of time when we first got Guitar Hero. That's when I was able to listen to whatever I wanted to listen to. And the first genre for real that I was able to listen to was the stuff on Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
And it was like a lot of classic rock and stuff. But
Barracuda.
Yeah, Barracuda.
Slow Rider.
School's out for summer.
Yeah. Through the Fire and the Flames.
Through the Fire and the Flames. Raining Blood. That's another one.
Knights of Sidonia.
Knights of Sidonia. That one's some cash right there, man. And the list goes on, man.
Muse. What was theirs? Frick. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, it was Knights of Sidonia.
Oh, was that Muse? Okay.
Yeah. But my band name on that was always the Flying Panthers. I thought it sounded really cool, and just like nobody had ever been called the Flying Panthers, and I've always had some kind of weird, like, I just think Black Panthers are just really cool looking. They're kind of stealthy but calm.
Panthers with wings. They just something about them.
Put some wings on them, man. The Flying Panthers. So that's always stuck with me, and I kept playing Guitar Hero, and I was like, man, if I ever made music, I would totally just stick with that. I don't care if it's just myself or I'm in a band. Like, it's gonna.
I didn't know this. I didn't know that was what, or maybe I remember that, but I don't.
Yeah, something I kind of kept to myself because I was like, this is a very weird thing. But, anyways, still kept listening to music ever since then. And about 2.5 years ago, I was getting really frustrated on drives back home or whenever I was listening to music. Not because it was something I was listening to, but I was like, I don't know how to play this stuff. Like, I want to figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
So my roommate at the time, Taylor McCarley, he was already like decently good at making music, and he had a M Audio 88 keyboard, and I was like, be real with me, like, what, like, do you think that I could like figure out how to do this? Like, how hard is it? How easy is it? Like, I was just picking his brain because I was like, I'm sick and tired of not knowing how to do this. Like, just tell me. I'm going to buy it anyways, but just tell me. And he was like, yeah, just go ahead and go to Tom's Sound here in Birmingham, make the purchase, and I'll show you how to use, GarageBand at the time. So I went and bought the keyboard and was using GarageBand. And the first couple of songs I played, it was like I would get performance anxiety sitting at the keyboard because there was 70 keys and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I was just like all ears, and I was like, gosh, this seems extremely overwhelming. But anyways, I just kind of kept at it. And 2.5 years later now, I'm at where I'm at now. I've started to put music online, stuck to the Flying Panthers. And yeah, it's been super fun. I love doing it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go, man. What do you think it was that like set you over to be like, I'm actually gonna start making my own stuff?
I think it's just like music's always been super inspiring to me. I listen to a lot of movie scores. I listen to I'm not a lyrics based person. It's more so just like, man, this song is either just really moving and makes me feel calm. It kind of starts a vibe in a way. But at the core, it's always just been very inspiring. It always pushes me to kind of get to that next step. And there are a lot of other things that do that for me. But music in particular has always been a constant. It's always been that for sure. I was like, man, I don't know if I'll ever make it and like people will listen to it, but I want to at least be able to say, like, be able to sit down and just say like, okay, I can play along with this, or I can just play my own stuff, really. And ultimately, you know, I want to be able to do that same exact thing for other people that music has done for me, and inspire people, and, you know, hopefully kind of, you know, create some good vibes for them, sort of thing.
Come on.
Hey, well, you're doing it, man.
I'm glad to
You're
hear that.
remarkably better now than you were when you started. I was thinking about that whenever your last album came out. What's your last album called?
Silverback on North Point, and that's a huge side story in and of itself, man. But I remember when I was doing the last episode here, I was posting my first album called Volume 1, and I've already deleted that off of that was pretty bad, man. Like, there was one song on there called Brisk and Intro that I stand by. They were pretty decent. I still have Brisk up right now. But gosh, I don't know why. Nobody was being honest with me, bro. Nobody was being honest. That stuff sounded so freaking bad. Like,
I feel like everybody's first music they're gonna make is gonna be bad.
We've been having this consistent conversation over a bunch of episodes, but talking about how you kind of, when you want to create something, rarely ever is the first thing you make gonna be good.
right.
Even behind any overnight success, there's probably 6 or 8 years at least of like playing in their bedroom or doing something musical. Obviously there are prodigies, but even prodigies I think have work behind them.
Yeah.
And it's scary, and you kind of have to like put yourself out there and be awkward and be cringe. But then over time, as you develop and get feedback from people and figure out what you do and don't like about what you're creating, you'll start to hone in and figure out like what's actually like what you figure out how to make what exactly you want to make, and what you're proud of, and what also your audience responds well to. It takes time and iteration and trying over and over again to get to that kind of point, you know?
Yes, very, very true. Very, very true.
Also, I think in the environment that we live in here in Birmingham, it's like we're not like in a city that people care about create, or like not in a huge way. Like, people don't like. There's pockets of people that love and care about creativity, but like we're not in like Nashville or like, you know, somewhere like Atlanta where people are going to be much more about it. I feel like it's like a lot of people, they'll like laugh at us for even doing the podcast, because it's like, why are you doing, like, it's just cringe to do stuff here, and to a lot of people it's just really sad. But I don't know, I just feel like for me, I'm like, dude, if you want to do something like what is that, the guy that the creative act, what's that guy's name, Rick Rubin, in his book, he has that saying that's like, you got to flush the toilet. Like, you can't just like, you got to get your creative things out. Like, you can't just like the more and more you wait to flush it out, it's like the more and more likely it's going to get clogged up, and you're not going to be able to like finish it. Like, you got to like, at some points you just got to keep like, you know, it's a weird analogy, but it makes sense in my brain. Where you always got to like keep working on the stuff, you know.
You gotta keep pooping in the toilet until one day you get the God wipe. You don't have to wipe.
The God-esque wipe. Everything's going.
You got to keep pooping until one day, like the perfect poop comes out, and you don't have to wipe.
Yeah,
that's right. It just you poop in, and for some reason you poop in it. It flushes on its own. It's like you you flush and flush and flush until you automatically flush.
Yeah, there
I
you
think
go.
I would rather
Remarkably
be.
efficient right there.
I would rather be in a place where people are less receptive to creative work than be in a very creative city where it's overcrowded and you get lost in the noise.
Sure.
Because, like, I don't really know of any other people doing a podcast in Birmingham, to be honest. I guess you could kind of count Summer Boys.
Yeah, but they're not in Birmingham, though.
But
Like,
they're not really a Birmingham thing, and they're... Yeah.
Yeah, then like Birmingham Mountain Radio would be the only thing that I could think of. And then, yeah, but it's also like a lot of guys are doing, they'll do podcasts for like short runs with like old Apple headphones and like on Zoom.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, it is very peculiar, the fact that we're like actually sitting down and doing something like this.
I guess there's what's his face? Is it Hampton Dortch? Is he the one who does that business podcast?
Yeah, he does that
He's
one.
got that. We should try and have him on. I've never talked to him before.
Yeah.
Oh, you could easily get him on for sure.
Yeah.
You think?
Hampton's a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely could. Hampton and I were buddies in college. Every time I see him, I like say what's up.
Yeah.
Hampton, whenever I was, this is so random, but whenever I was coming into Sanford, they had that like app where you can meet all the other people coming in.
Yeah.
Now that I think they only just do like group me, and
That's
they have
what
like
I
an
was gonna say,
Instagram page,
GroupMe.
but they had this like other app, I forgot what it was called, where it was like its own social media. They put everybody you had to do like something in academic or in the admissions in order to get to be a part of it. You had to like commit or something like that. So anyways, I committed. I got on there and was looking at all the other guys.
Yeah.
And Hampton and Caleb Burson were the two guys that Caleb's like still my best friend. I like love Hampton. Hampton and I never like BFFs, but I like DM'd him on that app, and then I found him on Instagram and DM'd him on Instagram as well. And we like chatted a little bit, and you know, we like, it's just funny that like, I mean, genuinely one of the better dudes that I graduated with in the whole class. And obviously Caleb was like my favorite person I went to college with, of like, you know, like it's not a freaking like ranking, but there's like, he was of the
it kind of sounds
my
like a
favorite
ranking
people
right now, Steve.
But anyways, Caleb and Hampton, it's just very funny to me how I just like, this app was horrible, but I still could tell like who the better dudes on there were.
That's funny.
Wow.
Anyways, I've known Hampton for a while. Hampton went to high school with these guys that I played high school travel soccer with too, and
Is he from here?
yeah, he was Vestavia. Yeah, he's Adair's sister. I don't know if you've ever put that
Brother.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did know that, yeah.
yeah. They were Stavians. They were like, he was like a legend at Vestavia.
I had no
Whoa.
idea he went to Vestavia.
Yeah, him and Adair were like famous whenever they went there. But
Wow.
I think like Hampton won Homecoming King or something like that, like, or Prom King.
King
Legend.
King Dortch. Gosh.
Yes,
Sam,
dude.
what's the future for the Panthers look like? Man.
Man, I have no idea. I just know that I'm going to keep trying to figure out how to get better at music, and I'm going to keep making it.
You played your first live show.
I did. Shout out to
Halloween.
Charlie. Shout out to
Halloween,
Charlie. Yeah. I reached out to Charlie right after I dropped the album Mad Scientist, and I was like, hey, like, I know you might be doing a Halloween party at your place. I love your place. You got a cool setup there. And the band Portico's played there as well, and their setup was pretty cool. They played on the front porch there. But I reached out to her, and I was like, hey, I would love to like play a show for Halloween. I think I got some kind of vibey music that would go pretty well with the Halloween party. And she was like, absolutely, go ahead and do
Let's
it.
go.
And like no hesitation, like went ahead and said yes. So did the show, had no idea how people would vibe with it and stuff. But and I really had no idea like what I was doing for real. I just knew that I needed to have a speaker, my laptop, and my keyboard. And the desk that you made for me so kindly,
That's right.
Steve. But I was able to do that, and it went really well. People seemed to be pretty receptive to it, but it was just really fun. Like as soon as I started playing, something natural just felt right that I was just kind of up there, just having fun with it and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was really, really, really fun. I'm kind of itching to play again. I reached out to Pilcrow today, actually, and I asked if I could do like a DJ set there.
Oh, let's
so
go.
we'll see.
That'd be
We'll see if
sick.
that happens.
Dude, you gotta reach out to Mom's friend who owns Workplay.
Yeah,
You do a set at Workplay.
That would
pretty
be
cool.
crazy.
that'd be fun.
I think it'd be really fun to do some sort of night there where you could have like a several DJ like lineup.
Yeah.
I think that'd be so cool. If you brought in like even, I don't know, like other buddies, like bring Andrew Nair down from Ohio to DJ or something. Have like a
he's
like
doing
a
this
club.
like radio thing, which
I
is
think it's
like
so cool.
so sick.
Whenever I was there, he explained to me that like if you can send out a radio signal, but as long as it's like within a certain amount of mileage or something, it's completely legal.
Yeah.
And it's completely free. Like you
Yeah.
don't have to pay for it at all. But you just like literally send it out, and so I think that's what he does just all the time in his office. But he spun vinyl like live. Like whenever he DJ'd at Elliott, and he brought the radio thing with him there. So he like,
and he set it up like in each of the buildings at Elliott.
yeah, that was crazy for real. But I think that is genuinely so cool. But you know who asked me to DJ at their shop one day?
Who?
Zephyr.
Really?
Yeah. So, but it's weird because I want to do it on a Friday because it's like I don't feel weird DJing. I obviously would love to do it on a Saturday when like Zephyr's bumping, or sorry, like June is bumping too, and Last Call and everything.
Yeah.
But Kellen doesn't work on Fridays, so I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. But I think it would be so cool to set up just inside with the door open, or right outside, and like do it for everybody on that block. But because I feel like it would be weird to do it inside of Zephyr because there's only like 4 chairs, and there's like, I'd be doing it to like 8 people all day. But if I did it outside, it would be, I don't know, cool.
For
but anyways,
everybody.
Kellen asked me to do it. I'm like stoked about that.
That's
I think it'd be cool,
That'd be sick right there, man.
especially in Zephyr. Zephyr's so freaking beautiful. I think
Yeah.
it'd be so cool to bring my actual like vinyl setup and spin vinyl with
be
like
awesome.
vintage speakers. I think that'd be so cool. They have 2 Marantz speakers in Tom Sound. That's why I was late today. I stopped because I thought we weren't going to get here till 2. So sorry I was late, Sam. But I stopped by Tom Sound's on the way here because I really want a pair of. I have a Sherwood amp, so I really want Sherwood speakers.
Yeah.
But Sherwood's like a super rare because there was like so many brands in the 60s and 70s and 80s that put out vinyl stuff. I want Sherwood, but they're like really hard to come by. So I've been trying to find like either Pioneer or Sherwood, which is I'm kind of nerding out right now. I'm probably boring everyone, but just really cool speakers.
Steve and I have toyed with the idea of trying to make speakers.
Yeah.
Oh, making speakers.
Yeah.
I think
After
it would
we
be
went to-
so sick if we made like a wedding company that we set up, like we had like a matching wooden aesthetic carts where you could set up like a DJ and a coffee stand.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be so cool if you were
would
like,
be
hey,
sick.
but I don't want to DJ. Like I can DJ a reception, but that's just like you're playing like
You're just
Fergie
playing-
and freaking Lil Wayne and crap.
Yeah.
But like
everyone's high school playlist.
but I would love to DJ those like reception air, like the like cocktail hours.
Yeah.
That sounds like so much fun to me. So
Yeah.
I think if you could do like a package deal of like, hey, we'll bring, you just have like these beautiful vintage speakers and you just play like whatever just like really
you should
beautiful
call
like
it
bossa nova or something.
Coffee and Vinyl Record Spinning Company.
Coffee
and Vinyl Record
Yeah, man.
Co.
Hit the nail on the head with that name right there.
CAVRC.
Coffee.
Cover.
Null.
Cover.
Co.
Carnival.
Covino Co.
Nicole. All right, guys. Hey, well, Sam, I am just like so honored that you got to come back on the podcast today. It's just been such a beautiful time chatting with you about everything. Is there anything
Absolutely,
else
man.
before we wrap this up that you want to talk about? We talked about space.
Space. Music.
Talked about space. We talked about music. Those were the 2 things.
Those are the 2 things between here and forever.
I think it was good.
Let's go.
We got Steven heated about
Something.
politics or something.
I'm pretty excited to release an episode that's gonna be like the unexpectedly overly politicized episode, or
Yeah.
like the unexpected politics episode.
Accidentally Accidentally setting Steven off on a political tangent.
Make sure that the guest.
Want to
for
hear
that show is
Steven's
somebody who doesn't
random
agree.
takes on Austrians' takes on Nazism? That's gonna be crazy. I get in trouble for that one.
Want to hear Steven's logical flaws and why he hates Elon Musk?
Elon Musk is freaking weird. You have to to say
weird.
he is
He is strange.
he's
The man's
not
weird.
easy to trust.
He's weird. He's one in 8 billion.
He is 1 in 8 billion.
That's facts.
It's true. Yeah, I think what's going on in the world today is pretty crazy. Elon Musk is part of that craziness. I'm also part of that craziness. You're part of that craziness. We're all part of that craziness.
That's facts, man. That's facts.
Hey, it's a beautiful day here on January 24th, 2025, in the year of our Lord.
Hey, before we end, while we're talking about space, up until I think halfway through February, you can look up in the sky and you can see Mars, Jupiter, and I think 2 other planets. I'll have to post something on Instagram about this or something. But Whit called me the other night at 8:30 and was like, "Hey, come outside. You can see Mars." And at night, if you look up and pay attention to the stars above you, there's one that has an orange tinge to it, and that's Mars. And then if you look up at that, kind of diagonally across from it, there's a bright star. That's Jupiter.
Wow.
Anyway,
That's crazy.
so
Don't forget to look
go
up,
outside
man.
at night and look up.
Hey, if you stare directly into the sun right now, you're gonna go blind.
That's a good point. I forgot about that one.
Fun fact for you. If you go outside and look up into the sky, there's a really bright star. That's the sun.
Keep looking at it, and eventually you won't be able to see it anymore, or anything else.
Yeah. I wonder how long you'd have to stare at the sun to go blind.
What if the sun went out right now? That would have been sick. That would have been
crazy.
Didn't happen.
All right, gentlemen.
All right,
Thanks for listening, everybody. Godspeed, everyone. Have a great and safe day.
das vidania.
Goodbye.
All right. It's secret time, baby.
Boom. Boom.
All right. So essentially, what we've talked about today is politics.
Yep.
So if y'all had to say a political take that you keep close to your chest, what would it be?
A political take that I keep close to my chest. Nothing is coming to mind right now. Absolutely nothing.
He's afraid to share.
I can't
Translation.
think of one.
I think that the government has been acting in.
Oh wait,
Interest-
I just thought of one.
Go ahead.
Okay. Here's a political take that I keep close to my chest. This is about to shake the internet right here. If it were up to me, perfect society, I was running it, I would not have an ounce of currency in that society. And everybody would work for each other. And that is what would inspire them and drive them to excel in society, not the dollar.
Okay, let me ask you this then. If that was the case,
Yeah.
what companies would exist more if currency was not part of society?
Well, none of the companies. So, say we just started with a blank slate. I founded the United States of America in 1776, and I was like, "Hey, we're not going to run on currency. Your neighbor is your inspiration." Not only would we have a lot of different, they wouldn't be seen as companies. They would just be seen as these different conglomerates of people who have similar ideas, who work to excel and push society forward.
Okay.
And, you could probably have maybe, people who are more scientifically centered. You could have people who are more agriculturally centered. You could have people who are more food centered, people who are more landscape centered. You're going to see pretty much everything the same across the board, but everybody's going to be happier because they're working for their neighbor and they're not, driven by the dollar.
That's some true American spirit right there.
No. I guess technically I did found America in 1776 in this one. I guess I wouldn't call it America.
Yeah.
I'd have to call it something else.
You would name it after somebody else.
What is currency?
Currency is what helps you buy things.
Why do you think it
It's
exists?
like a form of trade.
Why do you think it exists?
Why do I think it exists?
Yeah, why does currency exist?
Because we live in a fallen world. We live in a world of sin. That's why I think currency
But
exists.
what is it? It's a tool, isn't it?
Yes, it's a tool. I see what you're getting at. So we can have nice things like homes and so we can, that is what is going to, push people to invent things so they can make money in return.
It's a standard. That's the best way I know to explain it. But I think it's a standard that's like wildly flawed.
Well, I think you guys are talking about greed, and I think there's a difference between greed versus currency. Currency.
I think the argument would be currency only exists because greed exists.
Currency is an exchange of value. So if you have a pair of shoes and I want shoes, and I have a blanket, you don't want a blanket, but I want shoes. You have shoes.
Yeah.
What do I trade with you to get shoes?
Well, I don't know, but I think that you would just have to go find someone who wants a blanket.
So money makes it easier because I don't have to go find someone who wants a blanket who has something else that you want. Instead, I can say, here, I'll sell you a blanket. You give me $30, and I can take those $30, and I can go to Steven, and I can say,
right,
here's $30. Give me those shoes, please. Thank you.
Right.
Well, why don't you need your blanket?
In this society that I have just presented to the table, you're going to have a conglomerate of people who specialize in making shoes for those around them
who need shoes.
Right?
There's not an exchange like that. I think that's another thing where, in that case, like the blanket and the shoe would be the currency. But in the non-currency society, if I needed a blanket, I would go to wherever the blankets were made and I would get a blanket. Because I make soap, and whoever needs soap, whenever they need soap, they'd come and get my soap or whatever.
Mind you, my society
and there wouldn't have to be like an exchange at all.
But my society is so out there and far-fetched. Like, I'm very aware that it will never happen, sort of thing. Because in my society too, there's not really a single lazy individual. Everybody's doing something to help the society, help the community around them. But I mean, like I said, we live in a fallen world. So I mean, I would say that we need something like currency, which we have it now, to move forward in society and within communities.
Yep.
This secret segment is absolutely insane right now.
All right, let me ask you this then. If currency didn't exist,
okay,
what companies would exist less?
What companies would exist less?
Because this is probably where I would determine which companies are the worst.
Trying to think.
Or the least helpful. I'll say that. I don't think fast food industries would exist at all if currency didn't exist.
Well, you'd have people making food.
Yeah,
for folks, and you could probably get it fast in this.
I think
community.
like
so I think you
maybe,
probably would have maybe
a local
form of
diner,
it.
if that. I don't even think. I'm really curious if even like a local diner would exist.
I could still see that being the
Sam Edens is outside.
What the heck? Hey guys,
about
That's
that.
funny.
What are they doing here?
Well, what's something that wouldn't exist? I can't. I know there are things that wouldn't exist. Something's not coming to my mind right now. Can you think of anything off the top of your head?
I'm thinking about how that door's probably in frame. I'm trying to participate in the thought experiment, but I find lots of fundamental flaws in the definition of what currency is, so it's hard for me to get beyond that.
Wait, what did you say? Did you not think of anything?
He couldn't think of anything, and I'm having trouble understanding the thought experiment because I think it's coming from a position of a fundamental misunderstanding of the purpose of currency.
Yeah, the purpose of currency is it's multifaceted.
It's exchange of value.
Yeah, it's an exchange of goods and services.
Yeah, for sure. But so our idea of a non-currency society would mean that we there is no exchange.
Inevitably, well, everyone has something of value, right? You have something of value that you offer to the world.
Yeah.
You have something of value that you offer to
yeah.
the world.
We wouldn't have insurance companies or anything like that.
No, we wouldn't.
Yeah, because we would just be helping our neighbor.
There it is. Your job. It would be void. What would you?
I think you'd see a lot more art
This is a.
and creativity.
All right.
in
So,
the
anyways,
society.
we're gonna run around in circles here. Unless y'all want to have this conversation, we're really.
I'm always interested in.
I'm not saying.
I want to hear what
having-
Myers was going to say when he was talking about political things that he keeps close to his chest.
Yes. Let's get off mine. Mine's very out there.
I think that we are currently going through a time of. So, I'll try and be as concise as I can be. We live in America. There's a two-party political system, and every few decades, those parties flip in their priorities. So for the last, probably, I would argue, 60 years or so, maybe 70 years, the Democratic Party has been the party of the people. So that means they're advocating for simple things, simple rights for humans, whether that's like equality in opportunities or basic human necessities being met through infrastructure around cities and parts of America. I think currently with the election of Donald Trump, we are in the process of that political paradigm flipping to where now the right side of the political aisle has become the party of the people and the left side has become the party of the elites. My simplest way of proving that argument would be looking at who the donor class is for each group.
Yeah.
People are going to disagree with me because they're going to say, well, Elon Musk is on the side of Donald Trump, so then like he's the richest man in the world, blah, blah, blah. Donald Trump has like the firefighters guild, like the labor unions, like he's got the people's
He got the majority union vote this year.
He got majority union vote, which is like one of the first times that's happened in decades, from my understanding. Also, he won the popular vote, like from people.
Yeah,
the population. He won the popular vote. That's probably my political take that I don't.
Yeah,
often
I remember
share.
watching Channel 5, which is this like very unbiased political channel I watch on YouTube. Andrew Callahan, guy's a freaking legend. But anyways, he went to like rural Pennsylvania or rural West Virginia or something like that, or rural Virginia, and to these like blue collar in America, like coal miners. And anyways, he was like asking about that. I think that
Do you have a political take that you keep close to your chest, Stephen?
yeah, but I don't know. Like this isn't going to be like super crazy at all.
golly, bro.
I think that
I don't have any crazy takes.
I'm trying to think of like the most offensive way of saying this one.
Okay.
I think that it is like, how do you say it? Like, it is so corrupt to me that there's not urban planning committees in every single city. I think that it's like, I think that is one of the worst parts about capitalism.
You think they should have one in Hayden, Alabama?
Yes, I do. I think everything about Hayden would get remarkably better if it existed.
Well,
there.
what's wrong with Hayden right now?
It's decentralized. I don't know if there's a public library. I don't know if there's a fire station.
People trying to rent books?
I do think that a library is the quickest way to educate a town.
Okay.
And the only reason I would say that is because, like, I mean, obviously besides a school, but like, there needs to be a meeting place. I think that every single city should have.
Did that enhance your educational experience, the Gardendale Public Library?
Yes, I think it did.
What all did you rent from the Gardendale Public Library?
I couldn't tell you.
I always rented like the Bible Man DVDs from there.
It's facts. I rented video games from there. I remember that.
That's how I started learning about cars.
Yeah.
I would read books about the history of Ferrari or Ford or different
But
companies.
I think, like, literally, there should be, like, I'm not saying that everybody would use it, but I'm saying, like, I think people would be surprised by the amount. There should be a walkable, there should be a greenway in everywhere, like, literally everywhere, all over America. You should be able to walk anywhere you want to in America. Like,
Okay.
I don't understand like why we don't have that. It doesn't cost that much money to build a paved sidewalk throughout communities.
I have a proposition.
Okay.
And I also think that like the day that we were at Austin's and recording, and that train, they were doing the work on the train, and I was like, dude, that would be so sick.
That would be
if
cool.
There was like a little trolley that could take you into downtown like 15 times a day or whatever.
That would be cool.
That would be sick.
And I remember asking you in Austin, I was like, would y'all, like, do you think people would actually take it? And both of y'all were like, no, people would just use their cars. And I just like, I literally hate that about this. Like, I hate that about America. Like,
well, you gotta
why
think,
would you
like,
not like just take that into downtown and go get June?
Usually every subway system and trolley system starts off super sick but turns really sketchy over an amount of time.
Yeah.
Just about every single one of them has.
That's fair. I mean,
except I don't foresee that happening in Hayden, Alabama, but
yeah, I don't know if that's entirely true what you just said, but
I have a proposition.
Okay.
So what if we created it? I'll just use football as the sport. What if we created a sports league where you have teams play against each other, but they don't keep score, and then they just play out the rules of the game, but they don't keep score? And then you create like a bracket, but then no one really gets ahead. Everyone just kind of like plays against the other teams.
Are we like
and
going
they
back
just
to
go
the
back and
currency
forth
thing right now? Is
they
that what
just
you're
go
doing?
back and forth.
is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I would say that
That sport would suck.
you would allow ties and allow losses.
But you don't allow wins.
You would allow wins as well.
Yeah.
But in every league, there are financial fair play (FFP) rules. I don't think those exist realistically in most economic environments. I think that would be my qualm with or that would be like my motive backing, like, I don't know. I mean, if there isn't FFP rules, like if there isn't some
What
sort
is
of
FFP?
financial fair play, like if they're like, you can't just stack your team. But if you did, say the Dallas Cowboys, or say Saudi Arabia, like somebody like.
So you have budget limits for how much you can spend on your team.
Yeah, but say somebody didn't and they were stupid rich, they would just dominate the league. They would get everybody on their team. It was kind of like whenever
they did that at a military level, like every country's military can only have like 100,000 members, and you can only have 10 tanks, and you can only have one nuke.
That would be crazy. I wonder who would win. It would literally come down to manpower. I mean, literally like the super team thing. Like when the Golden State Warriors, whenever they accepted the trade of Kevin Durant to the Golden State Warriors, everyone was so mad when that happened. Because they're like, this isn't even going to be fun. And you know what the NBA wasn't for the next 3 years? Not fun, because Golden State just won back-to-back national or finals. So, I think my thing is, my counter proposition to this is, what if there was a league where they did keep score and they did allow winning, but then there was just like a few teams, or mostly just like one team who won everything all the time? Would anyone care about it? And then would the bottom teams ever care about trying to go up? I don't know. Probably not.
None of the dominant teams ever last forever.
Golly, man, that was deep.
What,
the Golden State Warriors aren't the best anymore.
And you know why? Because of gravity. Gravity.
That's because
makes
of
people age, and then over time, you lose your ability. You're not as efficient as a basketball player anymore. That's why Kevin Durant can't keep going at this pace when he's 60. But that's probably why LeBron probably is the best to have ever done it. That man's still cranking it. He's 40. He's 40 years old. I mean,
I'm not gonna lie, LeBron.
What was the best phone that you could have when we were like 5?
No phone. Screens.
The iPhone?
Screens are terrible.
When we were 5, it was a BlackBerry.
Oh yeah, I don't know. When we were 5, it wasn't BlackBerry for me. It was
BlackBerry
singular, or not a singular.
Razors.
Razors.
BlackBerry and Razor might as well not exist anymore. Do you know anyone who has one?
No.
It's competition. I think the world is. I think it's very important to clarify what exactly
Yeah, but like Razer, BlackBerry, and Apple are probably all funded, and people like the same people are making the most money off of them.
I think it's very important to clarify what your frustration is.
Yeah.
And when you say free market capitalism, that's not specific enough. Your
I
frustration.
haven't used that term.
Your frustration is with greed.
It is.
Greed is an outcome of free market capitalism, but it is not the primary outcome.
No. Free market capitalism is the outcome of greed.
No.
Like free market capitalism is the result. Free market capitalism came second. Greed came first.
Free market capitalism is the system in which
Greed
the
came
most
first, currency
people
came
have
second.
been lifted out of poverty ever in all of human history.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also
Fair.
probably sent a lot of people into poverty too. The most in like
That
history.
is factually incorrect. From like the 1800s.
Well, it depends on what you mean by poverty. Like
What do you
any
mean?
definition of poverty. From like the 1800s when the Industrial Revolution came about, more people have been lifted out of poverty since then in the last 200 years.
what are you defining as poverty? Like starvation?
Lack of water, lack of food, lack of ability to move up in hierarchical society.
Okay, well then that's a very like that's just based on like nutritionary values. Which yes, I do think that everyone has access to
That
like,
is
nutrition
That is a
than ever
result.
before.
That
But I
is-
don't think that means that they're not poor.
That is a result. What is poverty?
Poverty it completely depends. There's the richest people in the world can suffer with poverty of something else, ethical poverty or like some sort of like ideological poverty or some sort of like I don't know. I just feel like the richest men in the world are horrible fathers. Like I think that's the biggest form of poverty.
I think
is
he's
like,
talking about poverty like you're homeless.
I know. I'm telling him to expand his definition of what it would mean to have a negative ramification, a life-altering negative ramification based upon the lack of something. That's how I would define what poverty is.
Can someone look up poverty, please?
Now, free market capitalism is not built to create more poverty, even though it has in some cases, but ultimately it doesn't promote that for sure.
A rising tide lifts all boats.
But back to what you were saying, though.
Poverty
Myers.
is about not having enough money to meet basic needs, including food, clothing, and shelter. That's what www.2.gnb.california.
Is that a definition that you accept?
I'm going to try and find like a...
I looked up poverty and it pulled up a picture of Neil Armstrong. Now, back to what you were saying, though. Yeah, competition, it drives success and it pushes things forward as well. But in my society, to make your life better, that's why I create things.
This is such confusing.
So mine is morally better.
Okay.
You don't think mine's morally better?
I don't think that based on my understanding of human nature that it would be a sustainable society.
No, it wouldn't.
One is
we live in a fallen world.
The state of being extremely poor. That would mean, and then the next one is the state of being inferior in quality or insufficient in amount. The renunciation of the right to individual ownership of property as a part of religious vow. I don't know where that's the third one. I've always thought of like poverty as bigger than just money, though. Because it's like money doesn't fix poverty. That's kind of always what people say.
It can, if you have enough of it.
The first definition of poor is lacking sufficient money to live at a standard considered comfortable or normal in a society. And the second definition is worse than is usual, expected, or desirable of a low or inferior standard of quality. I would say that number 2 would be more my definition and number 1 would be yours. Because I've never thought of, like, you can't just, like, send $1 billion to Haiti and everything's fixed. Like, money's not the problem.
Yes, I agree with that statement. Money is not the problem.
Honestly, technically, if you want to get really technical, you could send $1 billion to Haiti right now and fix everything.
But it
would have to be like distributed perfectly well.
Yeah, if the money was put to use correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my argument. My argument is that money and the free market are not the problems. The problems are greed, and
I think,
sin.
Yes.
I think both of us are saying this.
Ultimately, greed and sin are the main problems, yes.
Outside of greed, or like, we both have ideas. Greed messes up both ideas. The one area where I will give into this, yours heals some of the problems of greed. Ours never would. Ours would just F up everything unless greed straight up didn't exist at all.
Your solution for a world with no currency, is that what you mean?
Yeah, like a world with no currency would work best if there was no greed between the two of our ideas. But in a world of greed, yours seeks to help. It serves to put some sort of parameter around greed.
I will clarify that free market capitalism is not a perfect system.
Yeah.
But it is the best system that humanity has ever found or created.
Yeah.
As compared to something like socialism. Because what happens with socialism is Stalinist Russia.
Yeah.
So power is consolidated to the state.
Yeah.
And then someone takes over power of the state and then becomes a tyrannical ruler. That's what's always happened
happens a lot.
socialist
Like kind of a weird amount, actually.
Yes.
I want this to be known as well for the people listening to my very outlandish take that I do subscribe to the free market capitalistic society.
I think that heaven
I want that to
might
be known. Mine is very like, yeah, if we actually lived in like a morally perfect society, we wouldn't need all this stuff.
I think heaven might be like what you're describing.
Yes, precisely.
Because I do think we will work in heaven.
I do too.
But there won't be greed and jealousy.
Right.
So you will be working theoretically for like the betterment of all of mankind.
Yes.
And to bring glory to God.
Yeah.
Like that's what I imagine we'll be doing.
And people are
in
still
heaven.
doing that in a free market society, i.e. Elon Musk is doing that. Stephen? Do you have anything to say about that, Stephen?
What did you say Elon Musk is doing?
He's doing stuff for the betterment of society, for the community, and for the interplanetary society, because there could be aliens on Uranus right now.
Uranus.
Or Neptune, the ice planet.
I don't know how I feel about whether or not Elon Musk is doing something better
I
for the
think
betterment of society.
I think that you should read the book that Sir Walter Isaacson wrote about him, so that you could understand him. And you don't have to, but if you want to understand Elon Musk, that helped me a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I love him,
I think
and
one
I
of the
don't want
areas-
to be him, but I
This is
understand
our
him
longest
a lot better.
secret segment, literally ever. I think one part that I feel about Elon is just in general that I feel like I need to grapple with before I grapple with Elon Musk in particular is I don't really think you can make society better from the top down. I think it has to be from the bottom up to make it better. I think that's just something that I think it's kind of like a cosmic waste of time to think that like a law or like a political movement is going to make like it's going to like put parameters on someone.
Do you know
might be
what?
helpful,
Do you know what
like-
he's doing in politics?
Elon Musk?
Yes.
Oh, I was just mostly using that as a random example. I wasn't referring to him in terms of politics, but in terms of like what he's trying to do of like making the world better, I guess through like originally it was like electric vehicles. Now it's through he wants to try and give people access to Mars, like, and then I don't know what he's trying to do through politics. I think he's trying to.
Him and Vivek Ramaswamy are starting DOGE, which is the Department of Government Efficiency. And his goal with that is to make government more efficient by decentralizing power. So his argument is that the government has too much power and it is ruling from the top down. And he is trying to diminish the government's ability to rule over the people tyrannically.
Which is a good
That's what I'm
thing.
freaking talking about, man. Give
Which-
power to the people.
That's right.
Is why I think you don't fully understand. I mean, no one can fully understand Elon, but you don't have a very good understanding of Elon, is my
No, I
argument.
literally knew. I didn't know that's what the Department of Government
As a matter of
Efficiency was.
fact, Stephen, I think that you would actually really enjoy doing some research on Elon's brain. He's a very, very creative individual.
You know what? If somebody walked in to the place where you get your tag renewed
Yeah.
and spent 5 minutes just thinking about their processes,
Yeah.
it would be remarkable.
I don't think there should be a Department of Motor Vehicles like location. I think it should all be online.
Why that's not online is truly beyond me.
Yeah.
Like how a coffee shop or freaking cat cafe can have a shop and an online store.
Yeah.
Like, and how the government can't adopt these things is like,
oh my gosh,
actually insane to me.
That is part of why I think the for-profit model is the most efficient model for an organization. Because if the Department of Motor Vehicles was not making a profit by the way that they were operating, then they would change their operating model so that they made a profit.
Yeah.
And because they don't have to make a profit, then they never innovate.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that? The second party buyer or first party buyer? That's a third party buyer, isn't it?
What do you mean?
There's like a first party buyer is like when you're buying something for yourself, you know exactly what you need, you know exactly what you want, so you're going to get exactly that.
Yeah.
Then a second party buyer is like say when Nike makes something, you know, they have their own personality to their company, but they still try to accompany to the person's needs and stuff. And,
yeah.
You know, there's also an incentive. I need to make money to live, so they're going to make a product that's very near close to perfect to what you need.
Okay.
And then you have a third party buyer, which is the government, and whenever they make something, they don't have necessarily a huge incentive. They're already sitting scot free because they kind of control the land.
Yeah.
So
they don't make money.
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to put something out that's a little more lackluster, but it's still decently helpful. But
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's like something like the DMV. The fact that they don't have something online right now, you know, which would clearly be more efficient and helpful for us. I don't have to go wait in line, and these people don't have to spend their poor time sitting behind a glass mirror, you know.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a
Pretty much
guy.
wasting their time.
There's a guy at the Trump rally that the Channel 5 News, and one of his takes was there should be absolutely no public education. They should completely defund the entire Department of Education. And I was like, I get behind that. I don't really know what that would do, but could you imagine if there was literally no public education?
But think about how
Education would get better, I feel like.
But think about how much less fun today's youth would have. Like, I had so much fun going to Gardendale High School.
Yeah,
and
but
just
you would also have fun going to a private school too.
Yeah, but like...
Or
still,
like whatever that would look like in your...
Going to a private school, going to a public school. But I definitely subscribe to the public school because, man, you get to meet so many different and obscure personalities, and you get to see fights every day. You get to see like
That's a benefit.
Crazy, like, you know, interactions between student and teacher.
Do you think if everything was privatized in education, how do you think classism would get bigger or smaller?
If everything was privatized, I think you'd have a lot of schools. You have some of them bigger, some of them smaller. So I guess ultimately, I don't know if you'd ever have one as big as, well, I'm sure you'd have a few as big as like current public schools. You have some right now, like Briarwood. You know, that's a 6A school right there. That's a private school.
Yeah.
You'd still have some of those. I think, but I do think you'd have better education. You'd have more efficient education. You would not have to be taught what mitochondria is.
Powerhouse of the cell.
Yeah. See, I couldn't have told you that. You know, I'd still got educated by it.
I did because Susie D was the freaking goat.
Sorry, Susie D.
Susan Dial.
I
was our
love
biology
Susan Dial.
professor.
And if you ever listen to this, Susan, I love you as a teacher. I just don't care about knowing the information there. But if it was like mathematics, I'm all for it. Like, I loved math and just numbers and stuff. Like, that was always it.
Dude, I watched a whole documentary about what's been going on in El Salvador. You know anything about this?
Oh, the currency inflation?
No, they like genuinely have shut down the entire gang, and they have like an insane huge economic boom right now.
Yes.
Like they're like one of the most successcul countries in the past 5 years.
Their president is a Christian. If I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
he's
He's brilliant.
I don't know if he's. I don't know. I can't really tell if the Christianity thing's like a
But they shut down the gang.
for the people. Yeah.
What is the gang?
So Maras is like a slang for muertos, which is the Spanish word for death. It's their slang for the word gang. Same as here, like gang isn't a word; it's just a slang for group or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
But so anyways, everywhere there's like slangs for the word what we use the word gang for. There it's Maras, and there's Mara troops, and number 14 is one of the biggest troops, and 18 is the other biggest troop. Or I think it's 14 and 18, and it's our versions of Bloods and Crips, which I don't know how to explain that if you don't know what that means, but
They're
it's
just violent gangs.
Yeah.
Criminals.
Gangs. Gang.
But anyways,
gang.
they have like literally they were like ruining the country to where they got voted the most dangerous country in the world like 8 years in a row from like 2010 to 2018. And then in 2018, this guy who was a marketing person started a campaign saying like, if you not hire me, elect me president, I will like declare war against the Maras, almost as if like it will be like El Salvador versus the Maras. And it got so popular that he got elected. And he literally has, I think there was like, I can't remember the exact number, but say there was like 350,000 Maras. They've imprisoned like 215,000.
It was like a percentage of their population.
Yeah, it was like
if there are like 6 million people in that country, it was like 5 or 10% of the population was like people associated with the gangs.
You should watch I watched it. The documentary was about the prison that they have, and it's like, because you know in I guess in history you always hear about like the concentration camps for people that like don't deserve it. This is almost a concentration camp level, like not torture, but like they make 80 of them sleep in a room that like not 80 people. They make them sleep on direct metal. Like they give them food and like medicine and stuff. They keep them alive, but like they're not allowed to leave their cell. Like it's a crazy thing. But they have crazy. Like 80,000 people living in this one prison. It's called like the CMOT, and it has a 2-mile radius of cell phone banning, so like they can't order murders from their cell. They go to every single house in the entire country. They knock on the door, and they're like, say I show up to your house. I'm like, what's your name? Sam Peacock. Okay, do you own this house? Yes. Okay, show me your ID and your deed to the house. You have to prove that you live there.
Yeah.
And they'll look through their system. If you have any connection to a Mara that they don't have in their system, they'll arrest you until you rat them out.
Oh,
so
wow.
You'll go to the prison until you rat them out. And then they literally check the house, and if they find anyone that's a male, because typically women are not in these gangs. If it's a male, they make them like undress because they have tattoos. If you're a part of a gang or a Mara, you have to have a tattoo with with your number on it. And if they find tattoos on you, then they literally take you to the prison like immediately.
That's insane.
And they were like interviewing people out in the street in San Salvador, and they were like, "This is the first time in literally a decade I've been able to like go outside without fearing that I'll get robbed."
They also did most of that work, like the majority of the work, in some unbelievable time horizon. It was like 3 or 4 weeks, and they had put like 100,000 people in jail. It was like really, really fast.
Props to whoever their president is, because he said, "I'm gonna do something," and he actually did it, and he did it in a remarkably fast amount of time.
It's been like 4 years, and it's like a completely different country.
That's insane right there.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool right there.
But it's crazy because like the Maras, like the only people that are like revolting, their only grounds are like we haven't seen our family in forever. This is so evil, and it's like you literally murdered people. You should have thought about that when you're murdering people. Like it's but it's crazy. They literally did this one thing. This was probably the most crazy thing I saw in this documentary. So there's this one place in San Salvador that's the graveyard where all the Maras from this specific gang, I can't remember which one it was, are buried. And they let Maras out of prison if they agreed to destroy the graveyard. Like not kill, not take the bodies out of the ground, but destroy the graves. So they literally went in and like took like jigsaws or whatever they're called, and like literally shattered like the marble or whatever, and like cleared out the whole graveyard. And it's
Where'd you see the documentary?
it was on YouTube. It was like this British company that it was like a 2-hour long video. But
I was going to say, I'll get you to send it to me. Yeah, I'll put it in the description. And I also saw an interview with the president, which I'll put in the description.
That guy is genius. That's awesome. That guy's like a face. Like he would even say that, because he's just a marketing director. Yeah. And then there's a guy behind him that's like the political guy that like partnered with him, and he's like the guy who gets everything done. But crazy that also I watched something. New Zealand's trying to get rid of their original constitution right now.
Wow.
Which gives power to we learned about it in Hawaii. Do you remember what they're called? The Polynesian people group. It's like the it's not Mayas, but it's something like
Guineas?
that. Yeah, maybe the Guineas.
I couldn't tell you, man.
It was some.
If
it
it was
was
something that lady was
New
telling
Zealand
us
and
on one
Papua
of
New
those
Guinea
trips.
are like,
I don't know.
Yeah, there's like I think it's the Manga. It's like it starts with an M. I'm pretty sure. But anyways, the original like Polynesian people group that lived there.
Yeah.
They the British people like tricked them into something, and then they had another agreement that kind of gave them because. Anyways, it's a whole long story. But right now, the guy is saying that giving power to a people group is inherently racist. But it's a white guy trying to get access to like oil fields and stuff that people, like that the Native Americans, the Native New Zealand, the Kiwis, have like got like access back to their own land. It's crazy. That was another documentary I watched. That's what happens when you have the flu. We didn't talk about that at all. I had the flu all week this week.
yeah.
Man, I watched a lot of freaking documentaries, as y'all can hear.
Yeah.
It's freaking crazy. I also watched The Wedding Planner, Matthew McConaughey.
Beautiful.
It's great.
Great film.
Jennifer Lopez, great film. But
I've watched most of the McConaughey films at this point. I still have a few.
What's
left.
your favorite one?
I mean, it's got to be Interstellar.
Oh, mine is Ghost of Girlfriends Past.
mine's got to be Dazed and Confused.
Really?
It's such a good one too.
Yeah.
Man.
So y'all are into like the
I just think that,
rom-com McConaughey.
No, it's just I have childhood memories.
yeah, me and Sam, like for whatever reason,
Yeah.
absolutely loved Matthew McConaughey rom-com.
I mean, I love his rom-coms, but I don't know. Interstellar is like one of the best movies ever made.
How to Lose a Guy
Another
in 10
one
Days
is A
a lot
Time to
of-
Kill is another great one.
Yeah.
It's such a good one.
Yeah.
Pretty much
I've
anything.
never watched
in.
Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh, so good. Go watch it
I
immediately.
think I have
Stop
seen
what
that.
you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was
I've never watched Magic Mike.
It's
Probably never will.
No,
emotionally
stay away from that one.
taxing.
Yeah, that's
Dallas
fair.
Buyers Club is emotionally taxing.
Yeah, it seems
That's
like
fair.
an exhausting movie to watch.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie.
It is a good movie because it makes it emotionally drains you. Like
You know,
I
it's
think
weird
that's a
'cause
testament.
I would
to
say
the,
Interstellar is one of my favorite movies, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite Matthew McConaughey movie.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, no, and it's tough too because Interstellar. That's definitely top 3 movie score for me. By the way,
Yeah.
Revenant is number 1. The Revenant.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I listen to it
Yeah.
all the time.
I was
going
gonna say I put you on that movie like a
You
few
did.
weeks ago.
You did, man, and it is.
I watched that while I was sick
Ah,
back
Yeah.
in like December.
But The Revenant number 1. Probably putting Interstellar at number 2. Number 3. Probably put Blade Runner 2049.
Interesting. The
I'm
newer
putting,
one.
So
that one,
newer one or the one
mashup
from the-
of
Newer one.
when they did pumped up kicks to that scene in Star Wars where they destroy that whole like little hole in the ground where General Grievous dies. You know what I'm talking about?
They play pumped up kicks.
What?
All the other kids.
Yeah.
General Grievous getting absolutely.
Do you know? Whenever he leaves that place with like
Yeah.
a lizard, what's the name
Yeah.
of that
I don't,
area
I
where
don't
General
know what
Grievous
that
dies?
planet is called.
But anyways, they did like
I know
this.
what you're talking about,
They,
but I can't.
Afterwards, they like all of the droids like end up being they end up being for the rebellion, or no, sorry, they're for the Republic, but they're dressed up as rebellion, and they like switch their alliance, and then they kill
they
like
ambush,
everyone.
They ambush all the Jedis.
They did that scene, but they put pumped up kicks over it, and for
That's
whatever reason,
crazy.
it like goes perfectly.
I mean,
well.
that song I think is about school shooters, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
But it's like,
I need to figure out where that video is.
that's
Sounds pretty funny.
crazy.
yeah, I don't know what I put as my favorite movie score. Probably
Yeah.
like
Hey, that transitions me into something I didn't talk about earlier. Silverback on North Point. It's a mock film score.
Okay.
This is the most recent album
Yeah.
that I came out with January 9th. And I have a voiceover at the very beginning of it, and it kind of describes to the listener like exactly what you're getting into. It's a mock film score. It's about this character named Silverback from North Point.
I wonder who that represents.
It represents whatever the listener wants, really. It's just kind of like, okay, it's about this, but however the music treats you, you get to decide the story here from here on out. And I got a lot of different songs in there, and a lot of twists and turns in there. But yeah, I was trying to be as original as I possibly could have with that one.
wow.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, that's a pretty sick idea there, Sam.
Link below.
We're gonna link a lot here. Anyways, guys, this was a nice little 1 hour long secret segment. If any others still here, thanks for listening.
Hey, I don't think I would. I don't think I would like passionately debate with you guys. If there was like a guest, if we had Delane Hurd on, I'm not going to like call you out for like a misunderstanding of someone or like a system. But I think it was a fun debate.
No,
I think
This is fun.
I agree.
We're the master debaters.
It was well fought. Well fought, gentlemen.
All right. Guys, thanks for listening. We love you so much. Have a cheerio little day. Oh, man. 2 hours. Bang. Gone like that. When they walked back in, we were at 125. And I was like, oh, we're done.
How long was that for real? That was 2 hours.